The Cold War's technological arms race began in earnest in the 1950s as the US and USSR competed for global dominance. With nuclear tensions rising, space became the ultimate battleground for ideological supremacy. The Soviet Union's early lead in rocket technology, fueled by captured German V-2 scientists, set the stage for a decade-long competition. Both nations poured billions into military space programs, with missile ranges extended to intercontinental distances. This period saw the birth of concepts like ICBMs and satellite surveillance, blurring the lines between scientific progress and military strategy. On October 4, 1957, the USSR stunned the world by launching Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite. This 184-pound metal sphere with 4 radio antennas transmitted a simple beep that could be heard globally. The success demonstrated Soviet rocket capabilities and triggered the Sputnik crisis in America. Newspapers ran headlines like "Red Moon over US" as citizens feared Soviet satellites might drop nuclear weapons. The event proved ballistic missiles could reach space, and by extension any target on Earth, fundamentally altering Cold War dynamics overnight. Responding to Sputnik, President Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act on July 29, 1958, creating NASA. This consolidated various military and civilian space programs under one agency with a $100 million budget. The new organization absorbed 8,000 employees from the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, and gained control of Army and Navy space projects. Early milestones included Project Mercury for human spaceflight and the Explorer 1 satellite, which discovered Earth's radiation belts. NASA's creation marked America's determination to systematically challenge Soviet space dominance. On April 12, 1961, Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space aboard Vostok 1. Completing one Earth orbit in 108 minutes, his flight reached altitudes up to 203 miles. Gagarin's famous remark, "I see Earth, it's so beautiful," was broadcast worldwide. The mission relied on automated systems. Gagarin had no control over his spacecraft. Upon re-entry, he ejected at 23,000 feet and parachuted separately from the capsule, a fact concealed for years to meet international aviation records. This achievement further humiliated the U.S., whose Mercury program lagged behind. On May 25, 1961, President Kennedy addressed Congress. "I believe this nation should commit itself to landing a man on the moon before this decade is out." This bold declaration came just weeks after the Bay of Pigs fiasco and Gagarin's flight. NASA's budget skyrocketed from $500 million to $5.2 billion annually by 1965. Kennedy framed the lunar goal as a peaceful demonstration of American values, though military applications were undeniable. The speech unified national efforts behind Project Apollo, creating a clear finish line for the space race. Skeptics questioned the $25 billion price tag, over $200 billion today, but public support surged. NASA's Gemini program, 1965-66, bridged Mercury's basic flights and Apollo's lunar ambitions. These two-man missions pioneered critical techniques. Ed White performed America's first EVA spacewalk during Gemini 4, nearly ending in disaster when his suit stiffened. Gemini 6A and 7 achieved the first orbital rendezvous, crucial for future lunar missions. Each 3,500-pound Gemini capsule cost $13 million, $110 million today. The program proved humans could work in space for extended periods, Gemini 7's 14-day record, and perfected precision re-entry to within 10 miles of targets. These successes gave NASA confidence for Apollo's greater challenges. 1967 became the space race's deadliest year. On January 27th, the Apollo 1 crew, Grissom, White, and Chaffee, perished in a cabin fire during a launch pad test. Flammable materials and pure oxygen atmosphere turned the capsule into an inferno in seconds. 3 months later, Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov died when Soyuz 1's parachutes failed after re-entry, a crash the U.S. intelligence monitored. Both nations imposed major safety reforms. NASA redesigned the command module with nitrogen-oxygen mix and quick-opening hatches. These tragedies humanized the competition, revealing the risks both sides accepted in their quest for space supremacy. Apollo 8's Christmas 1968 mission marked humanity's first departure from Earth orbit. Astronauts Borman, Lovell, and Anders became the first to witness Earthrise over the lunar horizon, an image that profoundly influenced environmental consciousness. Their live broadcast from lunar orbit, reading Genesis to a global audience, provided spiritual solace during Vietnam War turmoil. The mission verified navigation systems for future landings, reaching within 70 miles of the moon's surface. Significantly, they traveled further from Earth, 234,000 miles, than any humans before, a psychological victory that shifted momentum decisively toward NASA as the Soviets struggled with their N-1 moon rocket failures. On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed Eagle at the Sea of Tranquility with just 25 seconds of fuel remaining. Armstrong's small step line was carefully pre-planned, though his heart rate peaked at 150 during descent. The astronauts deployed scientific instruments, collected 47.5 pounds of lunar material, and left a plaque reading, "We came in peace for all mankind." Meanwhile, Michael Collins orbited alone, experiencing what he called the ultimate form of solitude. An estimated 650 million people watched the grainy black and white broadcast, about 20% of Earth's population at the time. The landing fulfilled Kennedy's challenge with 164 days to spare. The space race's end brought unexpected cooperation. The 1975 Apollo-Soyuz test project saw spacecraft dock in orbit, the first international manned mission. While competition continued with space stations Mir versus Skylab, the foundation was laid for today's ISS collaboration. Geopolitically, the moon landing demonstrated American technological superiority, contributing to Cold War détente. Ironically, the race's legacy includes environmental awareness from Earthrise photos and technologies like satellite communications. Estimated total costs exceeded $50 billion, over $400 billion today. But the scientific and cultural returns reshaped humanity's relationship with space exploration forever.